I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we're in a unique situation here. Unfortunately, our chair has passed away, so we don't have that position. They do. And then our vice chair, Mike Collins, is in Hawaii. So I'll start the meeting off temporarily, and then the first action that's not on our agenda is that we need to elect a chair. So I would move to elect Mike Collins as our chair.
I'll second that.
Okay. So all in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, Mike Collins will be our new chair. So we also need a vice chair.
I'd recommend Joe Manning for vice chair.
Okay.
And I'll second that.
So it's been moved and seconded to elect myself as vice chair. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. So we are legal, I think. Melissa, is there anything that I missed?
No.
Okay, so next thing is introduction of guests. Yeah, go ahead.
John Manning, neighborhood resident.
All right.
Yep.
Mike Howard, who's getting us?
Ken Benetti, neighborhood resident, over here it is.
And you got Matt Farr over there?
Man, fair.
I apologize.
No worries. Lifetime member. Okay.
Kathy McEwen, Goose Bay resident.
Okay. All right, so first item on here is discussion of open board positions. So with the passing of Helen, as I mentioned earlier, we have an open board position. So I've asked our attorney, Melissa Cribbins, to give us what we can and cannot do on this open position at this point. So,
You have an open board position. It was on the ballot for the upcoming election anyway, but you are free to fill this position basically through whatever mechanism the remaining board members choose to do so. You could go out and solicit for people that are interested, or you could simply choose someone at this time, especially with a short time frame, and just take a vote and appoint them to fill the seat until the next election.
And just clarify, that position will be reelected, or will have to run to...
For May.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's a very quick turnaround. I mean, if you were, and the third option would be to leave it open entirely. I mean, I would recommend you do that before you go out and solicit for people, because by the time you solicit, you would have applications at the April meeting. It would just be kind of meaningless. So I believe you have someone that's interested in this.
yeah, so I've taken it to invite Kathy McEwen. So Kathy has filed for position number 3, which was Helen's position. It's unopposed. In my opinion, I would like to have Kathy appointed, and there's no reason that we should leave it vacant as far as I'm concerned under these conditions. Kathy's still going to be running. It's very unlikely she won't be elected as being the only the only person that filed for that position. So I have her here. We can have her come up and introduce herself, and if you want to ask some questions, we can. You want to do that? Yeah. I know Kathy very well.
Okay, very well.
Anyway. Any questions for her?
Welcome.
Or do you have any questions for us?
I don't have questions. At this point in time, I will have a lot of questions. I do want to open with a comment about why I'm interested in doing this. I think it's important to get that on the record. I am Kathy McEwen. I live in Coos Bay, a long-time native of this area, and a bit of a transportation geek, to be honest. I've spent a number of years in the legislature with transportation being my main focus. And of course, I also grew up with Helen. Helen and I were in high school together. Her mother was my 4-H leader, tried to teach me how to cook. It didn't go very well. And I have a long history and a great deal of respect for the legacy that she has left with this position. Yeah. And when I knew that Helen was ill and then unfortunately passed, it became clear to me that this was something that I wanted to do to honor her. I care deeply about the legacy that she left, and I will try to fill those large shoes in the swath that she has created through this community and doing public service for many, 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 many years. And I'll endeavor to try and fill that void. I know it will be difficult, but I'll do my best. And I'm happy to serve if you're interested and willing to appoint me to the position.
Well, I definitely am, and so unless there's any opposition, I would make a motion to appoint Kathy McEwen to the board position number 3.
Yes.
That is vacant at this point in time.
I would second that.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so any other discussion amongst the board? That being the case, I will call for the question to appoint Kathy McEwen for position number 3 to our board. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Kathy?
Thank you.
Would you like me to swear Kathy in?
Oh, I apologize. Yes. You need
Something
to be
official?
sworn in.
Yes.
Minor detail.
All right. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Kathy McEwen,
I, Kathy McEwen,
do most solemnly swear
do most solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the State of Oregon,
of the State of Oregon,
and that I will faithfully perform
and that I will faithfully perform
the duties of the office of Coos County Airport District Board Commissioner, sorry, it's a
the
long
duties of
one.
Coos County Airport District Commissioner
To the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
Thank you very much. You are officially sworn in.
You won't be in the shot.
I don't want to ruin It's a distracting guy in the background.
And I will leave this here for you to sign. Thank you.
So you are everyone, Patty?
Brett Pauls, grew up in Coquille and a longtime resident. I'm a dentist in Coquille, what I do, and kind of an aviation nut. Been flying since I was a kid, and this airport is near and dear to my heart.
Wonderful. It's a pleasure.
Jason.
Good to see you. How are you?
Very good.
Good to see you. What's wrong?
Okay, so you have an agenda before you, Patty, I think? Okay. So first item on the agenda is the review of the minutes. Are there any comments about the minutes from the last meeting?
I move we approve the minutes from last meeting.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as submitted from the last meeting. With that being the case, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing that passes. Next item is the finance report. Good morning.
Come on in.
I really like your reports, the format.
Thank you.
Make it pretty clear where we're at all the time.
So the February revenues were $435,000, which included property tax of $12,000 and a Connect Oregon grant for $162,000. The February expenditures were $472,000 with the Abram pay application at $49,000 and a liability quarterly payment of $70,000. And the all the expenditures today are within the $17.2 million budget. Also, the district has many leases that are subject to CPI increases, adjustments, excuse me. And we haven't done any of those adjustments since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we intend to execute those at the beginning of the fiscal year.
So what percentage?
Some of them depend on the lease. So that's between 1% and 4%. And then I think we're going to do 8% on all of the ones that aren't
Do an average of, over that period of time, and look at that.
Okay, 8% pretty strong, so, yeah.
But that 8% is less than if we were to have done it every year.
Okay.
So, and then also, we received the SDIS longevity credit and $21,000. So, any other questions?
What was credit for?
It was the SDIS longevity credit, something that we received a couple years in a row now.
Okay.
SDIS.
Special Districts Insurance.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Do we get our discount for me attending that conference?
We will.
I'm gonna be sure about that. That was a 2-day conference.
Yeah, that's in November. We have to have all of our information by November, and then we'll get our 10% total insurance deduction rebate.
So again, if there's certain things that we can do as a board, and if we participate or staff, we'll get a discount on our insurance of 10%. 10%.
One is attending the conference.
One was attending the conference, the other, what, we said.
2%, there's like 5 different things that are 2% each, so if you do each one of these things, then you can get a total of 10%.
You go through this, classes that you do and certify yourself through it, stuff like that. We didn't do too well in that aspect last time as a board. I think Robert had to step in for us, so.
They weren't recording it.
Pardon?
It was like an honor system, you could go and nothing.
That's
Take it.
right, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions for me?
No, thank you. The invoices? I don't know if we had a chance to review the invoices. Did? Helen was very, anxious at doing that, so Kathy, I guess you're going to fill that. She would check them all out, and she would know,
That's true.
the power bill was a couple cents off from the time before or something like that, but she was very, adamant about making sure she was good at that. So the rest of it aren't quite as good. We depend on our finance director to make sure that's taken care of. So we have a total for the invoices that we're looking at. So I need a motion to approve the invoices.
I'll make a motion to approve the invoices in a total of $233,911.84.
I'll second it.
So there's been a motion and a second to approve the invoices that have been submitted and for $233,911.84. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes. Staff reports, maintenance and operations. Bob?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We want to know why you weren't out there shoveling the snow. You were
Well, before you judge. Staff did a great job. We did not lose any air flights. We were able to get the runways open before the time there's a cutoff. And I was working close with United Express office manager, and I had a go time, and we were able to fulfill that the runways would be used by the time they arrived. So that all staff, ops and maintenance got involved and taken care of that issue. As you can see by the photo, at some points we had 3.5 to 4 inches on the runway. So, and air carrier aircraft typically will land in 1 inch of dry powder or less, or 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch wet slush, depending on the airframe. So as it was, we were able to get everything cleared up on that where they could land. So, yeah. Good job. That explains it. There we go. That's been kind of an ongoing theme over the last few meetings. This was actually handled by the North Bend Police Department. They had found out, this went all through the neighborhoods in Airport Heights. They had found out who had done it, and basically had taken care of the legal end of it. Our staff removed and cleaned a lot of the, or all of the vandalism. And they'd asked for the price, which was around $700 in labor and paint and stuff to put it back up. So that was turned into the police department, and we're hoping that this will start to taper off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Center safety and upkeep, with the ongoing heavy rains and winds that we've had, we've been losing a lot of trees. You can see them starting to bend over there at the senior center. Our staff came in and removed them before they fell. And we've been trying to do that around the airport property. If there's something that we believe is going to come down and be an issue for safety, we've been removing them. Our truck maintenance is the next issue. There's 2 cycles we go through for the airport rescue firefighting trucks. One is obviously the yearly changing oil, transmission fluid, filters. One of our maintenance employees, a certified mechanic, Shannon Hunt, did all the maintenance oil changes this year. He does it every year for us, and it saves us a lot of money. The second phase is a certification for each firefighting unit, making sure they all spray the water at the correct rate and mix foam at the 3%, and they go through the entire checklist on the vehicle, which is basically, that's an outside source stating that our trucks meet certification. That'll be coming in May. It's already scheduled, so I'm just giving you a heads up that'll be coming. The next on the list is continuing education for our airport rescue firefighters to maintain their certifications for the medical side of it. We either have to have a paramedic come in and teach a class, or we do ride-alongs with Bay City's ambulance, and they've been always really good about going with us. In fact, one of our guys is on the shift today. We've got one more to do, or two more to do, and then the entire staff have gone through their yearly required continuing education. So
So how many are on your staff?
6. And basically, Ambulance has been very gracious about letting us do that, and it's a big deal for us to be able to do that. Finally, just another, I'm not sure if, some people may not be aware that we do this as well, the U.S. Coast Guard external load training. We're not doing it with them, but we have to be out there while they're doing it. Have to escort them over to the close runway in their vehicles. And we have an RFRIG usually standing by. This is for lifting buoys off the jetties or onto the buoy tenders. And it's just something, they have a lot of new pilots, something they got to qualify each year. And they've been doing a lot of qualifying to run the close runway this last training period. Any questions?
How many flights a day do they do? Or is it definitely?
Typically, I interrupt you, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Typically, they have 5 flights a day, which will be 2 in the morning, 2 at night, 1 in the afternoon, or some iteration of that.
Okay, great.
Is there
Any questions for Bob?
The jetty work that is going to be starting soon, with the roads being closed out on the north spit, and a lot of work going on out there, is that going to impact any of this? I mean, the Coast Guard's going to have to keep track of all those folks that are out there on the jetties working, I guess, is that?
They'll continue with their normal ops that way. They have their flights, and it's an assumption on my part, and an educated one, that they've had contact with the construction crews out there and the areas where there may be an issue. So I'm assuming they'll continue normal operation and probably make over flights like that they usually do.
It doesn't affect you at all?
It will not.
So you won't be there for the other flights if they have them? Will you have to be in attendance for the other flights if there's flying back and forth for the jetty, or not?
No. We're always, I think I'm understanding the question. ARF is always responsible for whatever goes on the airfield. So we don't have to be over there. Was that the question? We do not have to be over there, but we will continue to maintain our airport rescue firefighting duties when they're involved with the airport. It falls into a mutual aid system. If there's an incident over there, it'd be Hauser or North Bay, I believe.
That was the gist of my question.
Okay,
and it's going to go on for 3 years, but it's not going to directly impact you.
It won't directly
Just
impact
these
us.
guys.
And this had to do with external load training, that's why you guys have to be on the ground
Yes, sir.
with this, which isn't there every day.
No, seasonally they'll lift, they'll change the one actually on the jetty, I don't remember the buoy number, but they do lift on and off of the boat or navigational aids. It just speeds the process up. And so lifting external loads, 600, 700, 800 pounds underneath, they have to train each pilot, and they've got quite a few coming through, so that's why we're doing that. Sorry, I went the long way around the barn on that for you.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
Anyone? I don't think so.
Thank you. Thank you.
Public information officer, Stephanie. Good morning.
Good morning. I was going to say, if you are interested, there is a post. I went out with ops and took some photos and some videos, so there's a nice little post on Facebook, and you can actually see what they're doing. It is part of what I do, just to kind of keep the folks that don't get to necessarily see what's on the other side of that fence happening, an introduction to what is happening on the air side. Just to go back a little bit, advertising and marketing, we are just over actually now $6,000 with our messaging focusing on commercial air service. For both the traditional advertising as well as digital, we did increase some digital advertising to introduce the daily San Francisco flights. So we're up to speed on everything as far as information goes on what's available to the folks to use our commercial air service. And continue to move on and get out in the public to do a lot of community outreach. In fact, did 2 presentations over a couple of weeks, one for the Bay Area Chamber of Commerce Transportation Commission, committee, as well as, and that's kind of a nice thing because it's intimate, it's a smaller setting where you're around a table. I did a presentation where they could actually see through some history and then up to what's happening, including projects, and they're able to ask questions as I go along. And for the most part, I was able to answer pretty much everything that they had. A lot of questions about Portland Air Service, as you can imagine, and a lot of questions continuing on social media. We get a lot of questions, and of course, you know, when somebody says Portland, and they're like, "What about this? What about this?" You know, and it's a great way just to reach out and connect with people because we do have a lot of questions, and that allows us an ability to provide them with information about why that is such a task to do. Also did a presentation on general information to the Rotary Club, and also attended their board meeting. And part of the reason for attending their board meeting is because a few months ago, probably maybe 4 to 5 months ago, back when I first came here, a president, an upcoming president, actually was looking for a signature project and wanted to see if there was something that might be possible with the airport district. And then, of course, the Airport Heights Park came up, and so I attended that board meeting as that project has been presented to the board of the Coos Bay North Bend Rotary Club to do a signature project, maybe with that park. It's been presented, and because of the size and the magnitude, and you know, it is a new project, the board didn't take any action at their meeting last week. However, that will give them time to actually come out, take a look at the park. A lot of the board members wanted to actually see what's going on there, and those that had taken a tour were able to kind of realize that there is a need for something happening there. So one of the things that I have been working on is some signage, and that's something that I've been doing since I got here, maybe looking at some of our monument signage. But because of this project coming up and the position that we're in to be taking back over that park, we're looking at signage, and I put an estimate that's probably one that would include, doesn't have some of the installation or the permitting, but you'll have to consider that expenditure for signage to be able to mark that park. It really has very limited markings. There's a lot of use by the neighborhood, but Rotary is looking at a multi-phased, multi-year project. So they have involved all of their immediate president and future presidents in looking at this. And I think that probably, generally, if they get involved with something like that, they like to have something that recognizes their effort and their input. So anyway, we have gone out and sought some information about agencies that do signage, and we'll probably be making a step to get that park identified as an airport district park at this point, once everything is official that it's back in our maintenance.
I wanted to commend you for the professionalism and responses online. I see that, and what's happening in Coos County can be I often just check and make sure my business isn't on there. Kudos to you for answering the questions that I'm sure sometimes you have shorter responses for, but have to be professional.
Well, you know, the reality is that people just, it's a communication tool, and, you know, even though, like I've said before, a singer may sing the same song throughout their career 1,000,000 times, and we may answer the same question 1,000,000 times, but it's maybe the first time that person has asked it.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's important, instead of just hanging out there and then taking a life of its own and going in a direction that might be accurate. Somebody steps in and gives the answer. Now, they might not like the answer, but at least they have the information. So.
Yeah.
The thing that's interesting to watch from when I first got here to where we are now, a few months later, is that the community is actually understanding that more, and they're coming in and answering some of that questions if I don't see it too. So that's good. That means that the sentiment out there is they're understanding a little more where we're at, and that's helpful.
Yeah, and some good positive responses from the community on traveling out of here too, also kind of help building that rapport. So I'm very pleased to see that.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work on that.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, anyone else for Stephanie? Thanks, Stephanie. Okay, Deputy Director Robert, you have a report for us?
I do, it's mainly just budget committee stuff. On the agenda today is 3 action items. Approving the budget calendar, appointing the budget committee members, and selecting the budget officer. The budget calendar, we have it set up for the first meeting, May 17th, which is a Wednesday, so just give you a heads up. And then we do have 4 open positions on our budget committee, and we have 8 applicants. So you'll have to, I guess, pick 4 of them for the action item. So I put a little synopsis up here of what each one offers. And then it was also in your board packet.
This is in the packet,
It is.
because we also have a separate email also. that we just-
Yeah, I sent you a separate email in the board packet, and it's here. So, okay, you know, trying to pick 8 people for 4 positions.
So that's later on in the agenda?
It is.
Okay.
All right. Is that on YouTube? Is that what you're speaking or something?
No, I don't think so.
And the other item, there's going to be a memorial for Helen in the airport in April, and we're going to do a plaque, and so there's a sample of a plaque. And if there's anything that you'd like to change or add or whatever, we have about a week before we have to submit it.
Yeah, so I suggest you guys look at it, and Kathy, since you know her so well, maybe there's a little bit different verbiage we might want to change. So if you do, make sure you get to Robert or Teresa.
This is the
Suggested.
yes, suggestion. Oh, for a plaque. Is that
Put a
correct?
plaque and put it in the lobby.
In the lobby, okay.
It's a wonderful idea.
That's pretty much it.
Any questions for Robert? Okay, Teresa, are you there?
Yes, can you guys, actually, I'm Robert's phone.
All right, your report, Teresa.
All right, hope you guys can hear me okay. First thing I'm recommending a CMCG design build for the runway safety area. We have the RFQ and RFP into the FAA's hands right now for review to make comment on that. As you recall, we did that on the DHS, Department of Human Services, built a suit, that large building, $11 million building up there on Hill. I think it was a good idea because it capped it at 11 million on that project. This one's supposed to be a couple million. And there's no real, since we use aviation design engineers, we want to go out and get a contractor and architect team that do just the bulkhead type work in our area, not have an aviation team that's inexperienced to do this project. It may work a little bit because of the time constraints we have with discretionary funding. We have to have the contractor on board by April, let's say late May. So we're constantly to get this done. So this is FYI.
No action on that, just information, right?
Go ahead. Wait, what did that do?
No information, no action, just informational?
Just informational, yes. Okay, so then there's construction on that. Currently then the SEDC membership, that's coming up for renewal, and I'm asking the board to review the membership levels and determine which level you think is best at this time. I might recommend a little bit that we step back a little bit on our level until they regroup, because we aren't getting a lot of results from that organization at this time.
So just a little incident on this that I had a discussion with Teresa. This is our only economic format throughout the county. Listen to chime in, and so can Kathy on this. And the thing is that without this agency, we don't have an economic agency. So this years ago, you speak the county, and then so we got together as entities throughout the county and cities. Well, just support each city, the county, individual, it's a private partnership also. It's a public-private. So we then pay $10,000 a year, and a lot of the entities do that. And now there's not a director. The director that was there has moved to another location and taken another position, so that's taken at the time. So that's what Teresa's referencing. I still think we should participate in some fashion. I suggested that maybe we do 5,000, and then when we get a director on, then we can reevaluate that membership. But I would really hate to just abandon it, because I think it's important to the community. So that's my comment. Melissa, Ken?
I think the only, they do have an interim director. He came from CCD, I believe his name's Brian Sykes. So they do have an interim director, and I don't know what the future for him is, whether that's potential long-term or not, but there is someone there.
So anyway, do we need to take action on that, or do you want more information from the rest of the board direction, or do you want us to bring it back, or how do you want to do this, Teresa?
I guess we can just bring it back next month.
Well, let me ask you, so Brent and Jason, how do you feel? I mean, maybe we should just give direction on how we want to go now, if we can.
I would agree with you. I mean, I think we do need to support it, but maybe show them, hey, you need to get more organized.
So I think everyone's in agreement, Teresa, the 5,000 at this point?
I think that's sufficient. I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Yes. We're moving on, the airport closeout. If you look out, if you drive around the airport, you see the apron. But this complete, that thing just started, and unfortunately not until May. I don't know if Bob mentioned it. We've had rollers, teeters, bicycles out there. So it's an open ramp right now for signage, but it's still open. We're doing the closeout. It came out at $83,642 above cost. Yet they recovered 92.5% of that, somewhere around that. And so we're releasing the $295,000 plus retainage, and we're going to be approving the change order for the final amount. And that will close out the apron project. Good. Just an FYI. Additionally, Robert, I don't know if you put it back into the airport use request form that we created.
It's in part of that method.
Okay. All right, so the airport use request form was developed because we have agencies that use the closed runway for emergency training. They use vehicles and go down the runway. And I thought it was time that we made sure that we were insured and covered in case there was an accident. We've had this occur at other airports I've worked at, and they've actually gone through a fence and been on the accident runway. We don't have that situation exactly here, but when you have multiple cars out there in emergency training, we want to make sure that we're covered. So this form is being created for them to take back to their organizations and get the authority of people who authorize insurance coverage, etc., to approve it before they come on to the airport and do the training. And the reason I want to make this public to the board is because I think Tuesday is the first ones that are going to be using this form and filling it out, so I make sure everybody was aware of that.
Did you get a chance to look at this, Melissa?
I have not yet reviewed this, no.
Okay.
We did run it by our insurance people, though, just FYI. Okay, next up is park termination contract. The city of North Bend, we sent them a notice in 30 days to fix the discrepancies, and they sent an email back saying that they were not going to, they were just going to let it terminate. So we're still going to have an official termination on March 28th, just to make sure that our files are correct. And then we have paper trail. And that's basically all I have for executive director's report this morning in executive session. Robert already mentioned that there'll be a celebration of life for Helen in the terminal on April 15th, so I hope everybody's able to attend. I know I will be there.
So for FYI for everyone, this park termination, we sent notification to the city of Oregon that we would terminate the agreement we had and we would be taking the park over. But that was initiated by some interaction between our commission and the council prior to this, with Jessica and Tim Slater, and who else was there, Brent? I forget, and Brent was representing us, and Mike Collins, but there was a third person also from,
Was it Bill Richardson?
right. So anyway, this came up in that discussion, am I correct?
Yes.
About the airport taking the park on, being where it was, I think, I'm not gonna, well, I don't want to say something that's not accurate, but they also have trouble maintaining it. Did that come up?
Yeah, there just isn't much interest or use.
So we have, we're going to take this on, maintain it. As Stephanie mentioned, Rotary's going to come out and facilitate, hopefully, improving this. We're also looking at grants, and we want to make sure that this is a real neighborhood park that can be utilized by all. So we're going to take out the equipment. I think somebody said we should take out the equipment that was there. It's really in disrepair, and it's not ADA, and it didn't meet a lot of compliance. So anyway, we got to, if we're going to do this, and so that's what this is. We're just following up on that. So, any other comments on that? I just wanted everyone to realize what's going on. Okay. All right. That being the case on the executive director's report, we're going to get down into action items. I don't think we have a lot, but we do have some.
I just have one question, the timing, is there a time for that celebration of life for Helen?
1 to 3.
1 to 3, okay, thank you, I was just trying to get that.
Okay, the budget calendar, we have it before. And so normally, for everyone that's going to be on the budget committee and on the commission, this usually is not more than 2 meetings, right? Usually
one.
Yeah, even though we have all these dates in here, so.
Potentially, you have 4 new members too, so you always have to build in.
But,
time.
so our finance director will get with them if they wish and reach out to them and whoever it may be, especially the new ones, and kind of go over it if they want. Okay. So if that's the case, here's we need a motion to approve the budget that's submitted before us or presented to us, I guess.
So I'll make a motion to approve the 2023/2024 fiscal year budget calendar as submitted.
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there any comments or discussion on this item? Hearing now, call for the question to approve the budget calendar. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, passes. Okay, so budget committee members to be determined, I think we have a list here. So I'll weigh in, and then everyone can just, I'm sure, first of all, I can't imagine, I mean, this is wonderful to have 8 people that want to serve. I mean, this is fantastic as far as I'm concerned. Like the city of Coos Bay, we had 2 positions and 2 files, and they were the ones that we had renewing applicants. So on here, we have 3 renewing applicants, which is great, and then we have 5 new ones applying. I suggested Garrett King apply. He is a high school teacher that you have some information somewhere about what he's done. He's a young individual that is really taking an interest in participating in the community, and so I asked him to apply. On here also, Andrew Brainerd also is filed for one of the commission positions. I think that we should consider him since he filed and also wants to serve on the committee. That's just my opinion. So I would suggest MJ Kariba, Brian Moore, Andrew Brainerd, and Garrett King is what I would suggest. But that is really open for discussion, and there, at least I got the table set for information how you would like to proceed.
Could I, just for clarification, since I haven't really spent a lot of time looking at this.
Absolutely.
There's 5 positions. One is still seated?
Yeah, Mr. Briggs.
Okay, John Briggs is still, yes.
Okay, and so, and Kariba, Peltier, and Moore are currently on the committee and
Reapply.
reapplying?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I think I would echo Joe. I felt MJ has the experience as well as Brian, as well as what, Brian does for a living, and has aviation background or interest. So that's what I was thinking, as well as an Andrew. I noticed he was running. I thought that would be a good thing. And then I would go with your suggestion if you feel on that board. I don't know him, but
I think you'd enjoy him, and like I said, yeah, he's going to get involved in the community in many aspects, so.
Okay.
And I think Kathy knows Garrett also, I think.
I'm good with that. He's very young, and I think that's a good thing. I think we need to, start training people up.
yeah, I started on the budget committee,
Right.
and what I thought I knew, I had no clue.
Right.
So but it's good to get people in young. I don't know that I was particularly young, but I
He's
was an experience.
enthusiastic and earnest and wants to start getting involved, and I'm fine. I think since Andrew filed, I think that's appropriate to consider him. He's stepping out and willing to participate. I'm good with that.
Great.
You agree?
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to appoint those 4 that I have suggested. We have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve, appoint MJ Creva, Brian Moore, Andrew Brenner, and Garrett King to the Budget Committee. Is there any other discussion on that? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Thank you. You can't totally agree with me all the time. I know that, Okay, so this is just kind of a operating procedure that we normally do. We need a budget officer. We've always appointed the executive director. I guess we can always change that, but it always makes sense for our executive director to be a budget officer in the past. And be able to go through this. So that would be Teresa. So how does everyone feel about that?
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the executive director, Teresa, as the budget officer for the 2023-24 fiscal year budget process.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to appoint our executive director as the budget officer. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, Teresa, that's appointed. So that's kind of a short, sweet meeting. The chairman and commission comments. Any comments? Anyone?
I actually have a comment today. With clearing some of the brush around the airport bluffs trails, we've had a lot of the Scotchwood come in and a lot of new seedlings there, and I've had a lot of interest in getting a group together for Earth Day to go up there and remove pull by hand, and also we're going to get some equipment to pull the bigger stuff. Coos Bed Watershed is donating some equipment. We've got the National Honor Society from the schools coming, and any other groups that are interested, throw that out there for Earth Day, the 22nd of April. It's a Saturday. Airport's already given us a green light to do that. The one issue that's come up, though, is removal of the debris. Typically, in a lot of places, we leave it there, but that's kind of unsightly in this situation. So we're looking to get a dumpster maybe donated, or if the airport has any suggestions, we get rid of debris here on the field.
Yeah, Bob, can we facilitate helping get rid of the debris?
Yes, sir, we can get a 10-yard, 12-yard dumpster, have it dropped in the area.
That would be wonderful.
Sure.
Okay, perfect.
I think it's great. It's wonderful that you're willing to do that. And so any of the neighbors, you might want to spread the word if they want
Yeah,
to
definitely.
participate. That'd be great.
I'll have times, we'll advertise the times on our Facebook page when it gets a little closer. We're just kind of getting all the groups together right now. Okay.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Brent, any comments?
I just, I miss Helen. Yeah. She was an integral part of this place, a wonderful lady, and it's easy, you look back after someone, when you don't have the opportunity to get to know someone better, and you say, oh, I wish I had gotten to know someone better. So, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I just appreciate your support and looking forward to listening and learning for a while. There's a lot I don't know, and looking forward to working with you all, your staff, looking forward to working with you. I'll tell you, I was having a flashback when I was sitting here and Helen's name first came up. When she was organizing the air shows here back, way back in the day. I mean, that had to be in the 80s, wasn't it?
90s.
Yeah. I mean, that's how long her commitment has, you know, we have had that from her all of those years, and it's remarkable. And
Yeah.
she will be terribly missed, not just here, but in this community.
Sure.
Well, and I want to welcome you, and thank you so much for stepping in and also for applying to run. I'll just reiterate what a lot of you said about Helen. Going way back, I mean, this has been her passion, and she's been really involved and dedicated, and she's tenacious, as we have known. She is, and so she's been a wonderful, I've had a wonderful opportunity to serve with her, and I'll miss her. So anyway, she'll always be remembered and what she's done. So anyway, those are the online comments. Now we have public comments. Anyone would like to?
You have one signed up. It's John Minor.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Maybe you have two, sorry.
Okay.
Yes, good morning. And also my condolences to the passing of Helen. She will be missed. Obviously, as you know, I've had disagreements on issues that have been before you, but I've known her somewhat since I moved here in the mid-'80s and knew her mother, who better, her mother went to our church, her mother passed, as you know. So, yes, she'll be missed, and my condolences. And welcome to Kathy. I've known her for a long time. What I have today, as you will all know, the three of us have shown up almost every month, and we sound like a broken record saying, please don't build the perimeter fence that you're thinking of building.
Let me make a comment. It might even help you with your comment.
Okay.
So I had a discussion with our executive director. That funding for that fence is no longer. It's not there. We don't have it.
So it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen anytime in the immediate future. So we would have to have funding appropriated later on down the road. Before, the money was sitting there, a little over $2 million. That funding, because it was not, we had to go through these different economic impacts and different scenarios and some tribal plans that they had to review. We didn't meet the time frame, so that time frame is gone. Am I correct, Teresa?
That's correct.
So that fencing, the funding for the fencing is not, the federal funding for the fencing is not there. I don't believe, now that doesn't mean it can't happen, because I guess this commission could say we're going to spend $2 million. I'm not sure where we get it to do the fencing, but at this time, it doesn't exist.
Okay, we appreciate that information. That's helpful. What we had done was gone through the neighborhood, because every month the three of us show up and say, please don't build a fence. Sure. But you probably didn't know what the rest of the community thinks. So we put together a petition, and we have gone through the neighborhood, and we have 190 people who have signed the petition saying, please don't build the fence.
Okay.
So I'm happy to leave that with you. Sure. I have a copy or the original.
Whichever you want to leave with this time.
The vast majority of people we contacted say, absolutely, that is a very bad idea for lots of different reasons. So the community, I think, will appreciate the information that there's no plan to build a fence, at least at this time.
So let me ask you this, since you're here, we're talking about fencing. One, that if this playground area is done, this is mine, so this is all new. I still think that area should be fenced, the playground area. That would be my take, to keep, if the, mothers and children come up there, it's secure and make sure that the equipment's not damaged and nice. You see any problem with that in the community?
Speaking for myself, obviously, we didn't canvass that particular question. To me, that doesn't seem like a problem. When the gentleman, can't think of his name at the moment, so was asking you about the, putting the soccer field in there. And he said, well, we need to have a fence around to protect our investment in the soccer equipment. To me, that didn't seem unreasonable.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, if you get a chance to talk with the neighbors, if you could just
Okay.
inquire, I appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Ken?
Thank you. My name is Ken Bonetti. B-O-N-E-T-T-I. Yeah, that changes things a bit. It doesn't sound like it's, the fence is off the table, but I wanted to reiterate what John said. I've done a lot of petitioning in my career. I've worked as an educator in Colorado for many, many years, as well as a community organizer and so forth, and I've done lots of petitions, and never have I circulated a petition that was so easy to get signatures. All we had to do, and we weren't, blabbing a lot of falsities, all we had to do is show them the map of the proposed fence, the red lines around the area, and people were generally opposed to it. Some were appalled. Many take their kids there, hike there. Many appreciated the wildlife that depend on that area. And just as a side note, the brush hogging that was done in that area did quite a bit of damage to the understory. In fact, it eliminated the understory. Some of the neighbors that I contacted said that there used to be wild turkeys in there, that the deer were in there in much greater numbers. We brought a forestry professor in to tour the woods, and he said that the method of brush hogging and the damage done to the trees was appalling to him. He said the Forest Service would have fired any contractor that would have done such damage and done such a sloppy job. Many of the trees are nicked. Many of them blew over in that windstorm last year, and I would venture that there are others that are creating some kind of hazard. So there's three things that I'm interested in. One was no fence ever. Another is for the airport to take on genuine public stewardship over the lands, which means starting with a project that you, Jason, mentioned, and we're aware of that project of pulling the invasives out, but also managing that land as a natural area. That doesn't mean you can't bring businesses into the park and do it right and do selective cutting and so forth to make room for buildings and so forth. But to manage that land responsibly as a public lands, not as private lands as it seemed to us that it had been managed and damaged. And finally, to develop a specific written development plan for the business park, including site drawings, landscaping, parcels, and so forth, that everybody can see, and bringing it to the larger community. Well, you've got the county, that's who the election pays your taxes, but also to North Bend, which is immediately impacted by your actions, and the Airport Heights neighborhoods, bring them in as stakeholders, and work with them in a formal way to develop a plan that actually makes sense and that meets everybody's, all stakeholder interests, and including, and I would include as stakeholders, the flora and fauna that depend on those acres for their health and sustenance. The forest will grow back, we were assured, or the understory will grow back, but the invasives are going to have to be eradicated until it's no longer easy for them to move in like it is now with the stripped understory. And you could even consider some selective planting and other kind of reforestation with natives, undergrowth, as well as the canopy. So I really urge you to take our neighborhood seriously, husband that land, treat it like it was your own, and not for logging, not for stripping. And let's develop a plan that we all can be proud of and live with. So thank you for letting me speak. Appreciate it.
Thanks for your comments, appreciate it. Good comment. Anyone else? You don't have to have you sign that, you can come up, we'll let you. No? All right, that being the case, we will adjourn the public part of this meeting.